It's a scene I'm unfortunately familiar with. Hundreds of vehicles clogging the streets, people calling themselves a freedom convoy, making loud noise and setting up a camp, spending weeks demanding that the government remove vaccine mandates. But when the police finally respond with pepper spray and riot gear and a distinct lack of horses, people throw rocks instead of bikes and set fires instead of futilely trying to build a snow wall. New Zealand's parliament was surrounded by smoke and a child's playground burned down. Jacinda Ardern responded to threats of execution by saying that this didn't feel like a New Zealand protest, because it wasn't. It was ours. The convoy started as a series of protests in my country that we should have acted faster to stop before its ideology spread to you, to France, even to the US. Kind of. But all jokes aside, New Zealand, I'm sorry, a supermajority of my country are. I know there are other things going on in the world right now, but honestly, when there are people setting fires on your street, it's hard to worry about fires in other countries. When there are people who want this to include a hail of bullets, it's hard to worry about others being shot. When people from another country are threatening to kill their leaders for reasons that you heard people threaten to kill your leaders. Well, actually, that is a bit like Ukraine. Can you imagine if a few boys out of their boot brought AK-47s? Those Muppets would have run for the hills. You know what I mean? That's the problem. You disarm a population under a false flag so the government can come eviscerate your entire existence and subjugate you that easily. The banners should be saying, hang the traitors, hang Jacinda, hang the coronavirus response minister Chris Hipkins, hang these people. If I didn't know that those were actual words spoken by somebody in the Wellington convoy's Telegram chat, I could easily mistake it for one of the men charged with conspiracy to kill our CMP officers last month. This whole week, the last time I felt this sick was the week I learned about Resolute in school. I can't finish this today, actually. The convoy has returned to Ottawa, this time without their vehicles, but lies still persist. It really shouldn't surprise anybody, and it definitely didn't surprise me to hear that they've turned to lies about the Russia-Ukraine conflict. With the amount of funding that comes to them from America, a country whose conservatives have significant Russian funding, it would have been more surprising if there were no Russian bots who have understandably started focusing on the conflict in Ukraine. But they've spread to Wellington too. From people claiming that they've gotten sunburns, runny noses, sore throats not from standing in unmasked crowds in the sun, but because the police used LRADs on them, to claiming that the police started the fire despite video footage showing that these anti-vaxxers have explicitly said they're doing this in defiance of the police breaking up this riot. It's clear that a lack of critical thinking has gone just as global as the convoy. You know, I used to hate America for its part in spreading alt-right ideologies around the world, but now I'm not so sure that I wasn't just in denial of how much of a role my own country played in it. I mean, I mentioned the forced relocation of people to Resolute yesterday, and that was something we did by ourselves. The bodies at the residential schools, they died because of something we did by ourselves. The reason for Orange Shirt Day is something that we did by ourselves. I can't speak for Indigenous people in New Zealand, obviously. I don't know if any attended the protests that became riots. I don't know why they would have. I know that it was based on our convoy, and very few, if any, people of color attended the one in Ottawa. I mean, sure, there were some pretendians, but by and large, we were put off by the white supremacy symbols thrown around so easily throughout. I'm back in Vancouver now, but there are some dregs of the convoy that dragged me to Ottawa still there. James Balder says he wants to continue his fight to I guess, exercise his right to be governed by 10 members of a legislative council and 24 to 44 members of a House of Representatives. I hope this ends here. I don't want to see more violence break out in my mother-in-law's home city. I don't want to leave my home city again to take care of her, and I don't want to see people harassed in other places by people who think they can protest away reality. New Zealand is currently suffering a huge number of cases, although that seems to have gone down just slightly, according to this chart from the Ministry of Health. I hope that's the case. I hope cases don't go up as a result of this convoy the way it did in Ottawa. An investigative committee has been put together to look into the use of the Emergencies Act here that finally cleared the Ottawa occupation, and I look forward to seeing the information they reveal. I know New Zealand's going to do their own investigation, and I hope that goes well too. To the people of New Zealand, I'm sorry we didn't crack down on our convoy on the hateful ideology spreading inside our country before they spread to you. I don't fully understand why they took root. Only someone who lives there can explain, but the fact remains that these were gatherings of assholes for assholes who are galvanized by hatred and greed to motivate the willfully ignorant, the selfish, and the petty. No true demonstration of class solidarity can exclude people due to the color of our skin, the religion we follow, or the people we love. The very idea of collective action against collective care is, by definition, contradictory. One day, if we're lucky, we will be too old and infirm to die alone. God, the only pun I can think of is something my sibling told me. What do you get when a Belgian comic protagonist does a French dance inside of a metal container? A tin can.